In the 2015 must-have draft, 0 HP selects What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Kevin with 0 HP, aka Budget Gamer. We are going to be doing another installment today of Budget Gaming. We're going to be doing a must-have list, top 10 must-have list of 2015 that are currently on sale. Of course, the criteria are, on sale, and it has to be some sort of a good deal, great deal. Has to be, from my personal experience, a game that I enjoyed very much, and then critically acclaimed. And it can be a combination of all three. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a brand new game. It has to be somewhat released in 2015. Number 10. We have Homeworld. Now, Homeworld is a space RTS game where you have to navigate a 3D space and bring your fleet, your people, and bring them safely home from a dying planet. Now, the plus sides of this game are the 3D navigation of the combat is exceptional. It is, in fact, the first of its kind when it was released back in 1999. Now, adding that new dimension to an RTS added a whole field of possibilities because you're maneuvering in a 3D space. Now, there is a huge learning curve. It's not going to be an easy game to pick up immediately. It's going to take some time. However, it's well worth it because, in my opinion, Homeworld is one of the best, if not the best, space RTS game out there currently. Now, there's a couple reasons why. Graphically, the remastered edition that came out in February 2015 is fantastic. It's not just an HD texture pack that was slapped onto it. It was actually new models, new graphics. It's a brand new engine. It has new physics and new user interface. So there's many things that go into it. Gives you one of the best, hands down the best RTS stories campaigns out there. It's totaling in 30 some missions that you are tasked with different things like collecting resources, doing space battles, and you guys, the space battles in this game are fantastic. If you are a space battleship enthusiast like myself, you will love the game. The animations, the maneuvering, the ship models, everything is so on point and precise, and there's so much attention to detail. So the music score as well in the battles make it feel even more epic. The music score is fantastic as well. It makes you feel like every single battle is a decisive battle, which in all reality it is, because it is a fleet progression. So what that means is you lose a destroyer in one mission, and a couple missions down the road you don't have that destroyer because every time a unit dies, it dies permanently. So you might find it a more difficult time down the road without that destroyer that you lost a couple campaigns ago. So it is definitely one of those games where it's permanent death, but it adds that extra layer of difficulty and an extra layer of maneuverability and resource collecting and managing. So it is one of the best RTSs out there, in my opinion. I'm going to brand with a must-buy right now is $11.99 on Steam. The only part that I would say the downside of this is some of the missions can get a little tedious. So as your per typical archetype of these games, there are protect missions, protect the ship, escort missions, and collect missions, but they're all necessary. So, but they do get repetitive after a while. So there's that. So that is Homeworld, $11.99 on Steam. Go pick that up. You'll do yourself a favor. Number 9, we have Rocket League. Now, Rocket League is a sports game disguised in a cartoony-esque, childish looking game. However, it's not any of those at all. Although it is a soccer-based game, you play as a rocket-powered RC car, and it is a very simple type of gameplay. Your whole goal of the game is to, score goals. and you find yourself, easily picking up these controllers. However, it's easily, accessible to the new player. However, it's a huge learning curve in regards to mastering the timing, what to do and what not to do in certain times. Now, at first you'll find yourself chasing the ball everywhere, and it's not necessarily a good thing to chase the ball all the time. And it is a very fast type of gameplay, and you'll find yourself just maneuvering around. That's the difference, is when you start learning when to slow the game down and when to attack. And that is the biggest thing for me, is it feels very competitive. It's deep in strategy, surprisingly deep in strategy, and it has the approach where you can pick up and play, and you can play for a couple games, and every time you play and finish a game, you'll unlock something, which is really, really cool. They don't force you to buy things, and although all the customization are just cosmetically pleasing, like different paint jobs for your car, wheels, exhaust pipes, hats. Yeah, you get hats too, and different models and makes of cars. So there's a lot of customization that makes you feel like your car is your car, and you'll get these parts every time you finish a game. So that's the nice part. The game itself is extremely addicting. As I mentioned earlier, you'll find yourself picking up a game to play it for 1 or 2 matches, and then 5 matches in, you're like, oh, I'm going to be late for a meeting. I have to go now. So you'll find yourself addicted and just wanting to play more and more. And it is actually very graphically pleasing. Surprisingly, it looks kind of childish, but the atmosphere and the graphics make it eye-pleasing, where it's not a strain to watch and play this game continuously. And that helps with the addictive. It's not glaring at you, and you're not, blinded by the flashes, and it's actually very pleasing. So right now, you can get this game on Steam for $13.99. Number 7, we have Metal Gear Solid 5. Metal Gear Solid 5, you, of course, play as Snake, and it is a fantastic entry in the series. Now, this is the first game in the series that gives you an open world sandbox type of gameplay. And I have to tell you, it is fantastic. The exceptional sandbox element to the game is superb. There are many things to do and many different ways to approach certain missions. And it gives you an extra layer as well. It must be a theme this year where they give you this base building ability. And it's called Home Base for Metal Gear Solid. So you'll unlock through your home base, you'll collect things during your travels and your exploration, and you'll unlock tons of gadgets and guns and weapons for yourself and your team. Now, there are a host of different cast characters that are NPCs that you can interact with, although the game itself does lack a cohesive narrative or story. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Where the game lets you decide and make your own story, that's where it excels at. So the game lets you play as you please, which means that you can approach different missions in a stealth or go in guns a-blazing. And there are some repercussions for each an individual decision that you make. However, there's no one that weighs more than the other. You can go in and stealthily extract a bunch of hostages, or you can go guns a-blazing and kill everyone. But with the base building element, it encourages you to do the stealth element, so you can go in and extract extra intel, personnel, materials, vehicles, or whatever you need, assets for your home base. So it gives you that opportunity, but you are not forced to do it, which is very nice for fans that were not a huge fan of the stealth gameplay from previous Metal Gear Solid. Now, it is a very satisfying gameplay element to it, because it gives you a very straightforward mission. You basically are trying to build your home base, you're managing these diamond dogs, and you're supposed to infiltrate certain bases and collect certain people to progress in the story. Now, the story again could be better. However, I feel like if you are imaginative enough, you are creating your own story, and honestly, I think that if that is something that you like to do, which I personally like to do, I almost find that that's better than a narrative-based game that is not very interesting. So you're creating your own stories, or imagine yourself just coming back from a war and having these outlandish war stories. That's what I feel like Metal Gear Solid provides to you. Just to not to belay the point that it is on sale right now. However, the reason why it's so long on my list right now is because it is $40.19 on Steam, which isn't the best deal right now, because I have seen it as low as $29.99. So what I'll recommend is, if you are planning on getting it and you need to play it now, then this is not a bad time to get it. But if you're willing to wait and see that $29.99 again, I would say wait on it. But it is well worth it. A game you play, you'll be playing it for a very long time. Number 6, we have Her Story. Now, Her Story is a narrative-based game where you play as a detective, and you are going through these this cold case and fictional interview tapes of 1994, where a woman named Hannah is interviewed on the disappearance of her husband Simon. The whole concept of the game is you have to piece together her interview tapes to find what happened and why did Simon disappear. Now, the actress that plays Hannah is fantastic. This is the highlight of this game, is her portrayal of Hannah. She goes through these different emotions and different personalities, and she portrays them fantastically. So in one segment, you might find her, oh, I believe her, she doesn't seem like a murderer, and then in the very next video that you find, and she seems very suspicious. So she plays that role very well, and she did it all fantastically, and I find myself enthralled into it. Now, it's a search engine game where basically you're piecing together the disappearance. Now, if she said you start learning to pick up mannerisms, you're starting to pick up key words, key phrases that she's saying. So you start picking out and searching for different tapes and finding what has happened and piece together everything. Now, it is a great story. I found myself very interested in finding out what happens. And that may just be the detective in me. I do like mysteries, and I find it that when I was playing this game, that it just came out. I have pages and pages of notes of my own notepads, looking for writing down phrases that she said and how she said them, and it's keywords. So you'll find yourself doing that as well, because it is such a fun game. Very simple, very straightforward. It's a search engine game. You're just watching video, searching for words. That's all you're doing. And you have to refine your search down to find out what had happened to her husband. There's a lot of theories behind this. The story leaves it up to you to interpret what's going on. So, that could be a downside where people that may not like that. They like more of a narrative-based, straightforward gameplay. But for myself, I found it very entertaining and very enjoyable. So right now on Steam for $3.59, if you want, it's a very cheap game. You find yourself wanting to play a game that you as the player will be grasped by and enthralled by. This is the game to do it. I would recommend it. Number 5, we have Ori and the Blind Forest. Now, Ori and the Blind Forest is a 2D platforming game where you play as Ori, a white guardian spirit. Now, you are tasked with restoring order to the forest, and the levels themselves, as you progress through the games, are very intricately put together. They're very well designed. The art style is fantastic, one of my favorites. It is so vibrant and dark at the same time, portrays that light and dark element to it, and it is a very eye-pleasing game. Now, you'll also, not only will your eyes be pleased, but your heart will be jerked back and forth. Now, you'll find yourself loving these characters. You'll find yourself, although they don't really say much, you'll find yourself really interested in these characters and feeling these certain emotions that you do for a character that is not really, is supposed to be your enemy, but you find out their backstory, and there's heart tugging moments where you find yourself just really upset and down by them, and it is such a great game. It's a very good story. It is very heartfelt story. Great platforming, by the way. You guys are out there, love platforming games. This is a great platformer. I would highly recommend picking this up as well. It's an experience. You'll play this game and you'll experience something that you don't usually experience from a 2D platforming game. So right now on Steam for $11.99. So check that out. We have Kerbal Space Program. Thank you, Ian. Kerbal Space Program is a game where you are tasked with building a space-worthy craft. Now it sounds very simple, right? You are tasked with building a spaceship, but the whole catch is you have to build a spaceship that can fly into space without killing your crew. Now that's the hard part. You are given these many different parts and gears to experiment with, and you'll find yourself for hours upon hours of trying to figure out combinations at work to get your guys into space. Now it's a very light and funny game, and you'll find yourself laughing and just having a really good time, because this game is give you tons of replayability, but they'll also give you tons of little jokes. So you'll find yourself laughing and enjoying this game very much so, because of the abundance of comedy and just like the cute little characters, and with their gruesome explosions sometimes. And it's a very funny and goofy game, and it's a very although it can be, say, the graphics can be better, it doesn't deter away from the game experience itself. Although it is currently $23.99 on Steam, which isn't a great deal, but it's still a relatively good deal. So if you plan on buying a game that you can just kind of mess around with, that's the game to do it. So check that out. It is $23.99 again on Steam. Pillars of Eternity. Now, Pillars of Eternity is an homage back to the old classic top-down RPG. So much so, in fact, that it kind of looks like an top-down old-time RPG. So the one downside, I'll go ahead and start off with this immediately. I know that they did this on purpose, but they're graphically, stating that it's not the best graphically looking game out there. But I feel like they did that on purpose. Now, outside of that, our old style RPG classics tell characters, or have interesting characters that you'll find yourself wanting to learn more about. Same goes for the story. Although the story is very heavily text favored, there's not many voice acted lines in the game. You'll find yourself, if you are a old avid RPG top-down player, then this game is definitely the game for you. It's very deep. It has many different classes. It's such a huge world to explore. The game is very difficult too. Not to take this lightly. This game, even on normal, can give you a really good challenge. It's not an easy game that you can just pick up and just master within a couple hours. And you'll find yourself pausing the game a lot. You'll find yourself using items that you don't really know about. It tells you, or gives you the opportunity to learn more about the game by going deeper and deeper into it. Now, the RPG elements are very deep in this game. You'll find yourself with different classes in your party, where you're not used to like just the rogue, the archer, the wizard, and warrior. There are many other different classes in there as well, so you want to explore them all as well. Interesting enough, the story is based in a fantasy world, of course, and it's a open world where you can just explore. You'll find yourself dying a lot, so keep that in mind. Right now, $17.99 on Steam. Undertale. Surprisingly enough, Undertale is a 8-bit RPG game. That sounds very interesting, right? In a day and age now. But surprisingly enough, this has a very deep story. Undertale is very goofy, has a very goofy sense of humor. It is very funny, but it tells you a very deep story. Now, the story goes that these creatures that live underground are called monsters, and you, as the player or the boy, fall beneath Earth, and you explore this underground world, and you meet these different creatures and monsters. Now you can let these creatures live when you encounter them, or you can kill them, and your story greatly differs depending on your decisions. The game itself is a very short game, and it's 5 to 7 hours long. However, as I mentioned, with those decisions, you can make certain decisions one time, and you'll find yourself coming back and playing it third or even second or third time, and you'll find yourself doing the opposite of what you did. So you'll explore different possibilities. It is a decision-based narrative, so it's a very old classic click and 8-bit RPG game. So if you're interested in that, that is a very interesting, one of the more highly rated games this year, 2015. Currently $7.99 on Steam. Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5, although was released back in 2013, it has been re-released on the PC in 2015. Now, Grand Theft Auto is one of my favorite all-time. Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of my favorite all-time games. It's such a well-made game for the fact that the comedy is so well written. It just points out the over-the-top, grippingly funny story that tells you of a middle-aged white American family that is struggling to hold on to what they have, and you still get with the portrayal of all three characters. You get Michael, you get Trevor, and you get Franklin. You get a little bit of everything. Trevor is the just insane redneck coming from the country that wants to kill everybody. Franklin, that is a hood gangster that is surrounded by morons that wants to get out of the gangster life and live a high life, where Michael is a middle-aged white guy that used to be a bank robber, and he's living in Los Santos now and with his family, and he's just plagued by these dilemmas of the middle class America white family. And it's such a funny well-written game that you'll find yourself laughing and just like these outlandish situations that they get themselves into. Understand that Grand Theft Auto always is and always will be a open world game where you can approach the world the way that you'd like, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best portrayal of that so far thus in the series. And you are given unparalleled variety when you're playing. Say, for example, you want to jump out of a plane and on top of a mountain onto a mountain bike and then ride the mountain bike all the way down. You can literally do that if you really wanted to. Or if you just want to go, say, fist fighting somebody on the beach, you can do that too. It is very, very fun. It's it's a game that you'll find yourself coming back to just for the fact that you'll play it over and over again for the multiplayer. The multiplayer gives you the chance to play as your own person. You start from literally nothing, and you start building your money up by things, cars, penthouses, so on and so forth. So you have that replayability there. Also, with the PC version, you'll have mods that you can go back into, play multiple times, and download multiple mods. And there's tons of multiplayer antics. And you jump into a multiplayer game, there's so many different things that you can play that gives you that value of the replayability for the price that it is. Now, the price that it is right now is $35.99. This is probably the best price I have seen the PC version of Grand Theft Auto 5 at. And if you are planning on getting it, definitely do it. I think this is going to be another must-buy game for me. You're going to have plenty of replayability for it. And the addition of first-person shooter, or the first-person point of view as well in the game, is fantastic. In my book, it adds more value to the core gameplay. At first, I was a little hesitant of it. Grand Theft Auto has always been third-person, but the first-person view, especially when you're playing your multiplayer character, the things that happen to you when you're in first-person view, you feel like you're going through those motions rather than a person you're controlling. So, for example, say you get into a crash and you get blasted out of the car and you're just flying around. If you're in first person, you'll see each and every spin and rotation of your body, and it's just one of the best feelings in the world, and you feel like all this is happening to you personally. So yeah, so just just not belay the point anymore. It definitely must buy. It is a great game for $35.99 on Steam at the current time. Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. So Witcher 3 is the third and final installment in the Witcher series, and it picks up right after the events of Witcher 2: The Assassin of Kings. Now this game had no doubt, I'm sure you guys out there in YouTube land had no doubt this was going to be number one, for the fact alone that it is giving you hundreds upon hundreds of hours of gameplay, and now it just throws out immediately. It's $29.99 on Steam right now, and by the time I release this, the Steam Summer Sale is probably going to be up soon. If it's going to be up soon, so pick it up right now as you're listening to this. Pick it up on the other window. And so what are the positives in Witcher 3? Well, Witcher 3 gives you one of the most authentic open world, massively open world games to date. And it's a thriving, living world where you, as Geralt of Rivia, are tasked with your own personal main story. You're looking for your former lover Yennefer and your adopted daughter Ciri. So you're looking for them. You are fighting off an invasion, and you're also hunting down monsters and creatures in the land. So you find yourself tasked with many things that give you the opportunity to play more and more and more. And I've seen people play as much as 100 hours in the game, and they still haven't finished all of the things that are in the game. So you'll find yourself playing this game a lot. It is very streamlined. So in comparison to Witcher 1 and 2, it is extremely streamlined in order to get new players into the game. The RPG elements are streamlined. However, for you, RPG enthusiasts or you Witcher fans, this doesn't mean that it's dumbed down. What this means is that it gives you the opportunity to go even deeper as you, of a person that would like to go into make the best build for your character. You can do so. You can still research and do all those things. It's just the interface and everything else is streamlined to make it easier to access. And the side quests in this game are some of the best side quests in any story or any game that has been released. Now, I've heard raving reviews where the side quests have each individual stories. They mean so much. They have such good narrative rewards that you are encouraged to do them. If not, if you want to do all of them yourself. And it is so deep, finding yourself more enthralled sometimes with a side quest than you are with the main quest. The only downside to the main quest is that there are a lot of tedious fetch, gather, or kill quests, and you're only doing that to get information about your lost lover Yennefer and their adopted daughter Ciri. So you find yourself doing those missions often, but I feel like the gem in this, or the shining element of this game, is a side quest, which has such glowing reviews that I would highly recommend picking this game up, just for the fact that you'll never experience a side quest system like this ever again, unless Witcher or CD Red Project will make another game similar to this. The biggest complaint for me personally from the previous games were the combat. Now the combat has improved tremendously in this game, where everything is now more easily accessible. That is changed as well. The combat is you can easily pick it up. It's not just straightforward. It's not counter based anymore. Well, it's still counter based, but you are still given the opportunity to cast easier, and you're using more new tools, so on and so forth. It's not just you're waiting for something to happen and you counter it. And for me personally, the NPCs as well are they have deep contributions to the story, and that's what again encourages you to do those side quests, so you learn more about these characters, and they in turn will give you the narrative rewards that you were looking for to help you contribute to the story. So you'll find yourself going back to these certain areas to check up on them. It's a ever evolving world, and it's just a really high rated game, and so definitely check that out. It's one of the best rated games of 2015 as well. $29.99 on Steam right now. So pick that up, and you won't regret it. So that is it, you guys. That's for 0 HP here. My name is Kevin, the Budget Gamer. We are going to continue to do these series as as I see fit when we find a great deal for you. So keep an eye out for it. I appreciate you guys if you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the like, comment, all that good stuff. Our social media is in the description. My other group mates have tons of videos out there, so check that out as well. So yeah, thank you so much, and this is the Budget Gamer signing out. Peace.